ETTelecom to kind of give us this opportunity for me and my esteemed panelists over here. It's an honor to be part of the summit and talk about 5G, 5G Advanced, and the network transformation that India is kind of running. Because given the technology and advancements, while we were the latest in the bandwagon to join the bandwagon for 5G implementation, extremely proud of the work that the Indian companies, Indian government has kind of put together to bring us at the forefront. Today we are, as we all know, we are at the forefront of the download and uploads links. So really commendable work that is being done by the industry on 5G. So today I think we'll kind of delve a little deeper in terms of some of the network innovations that is happening, the state of readiness of the country's digital infrastructure to support some of these use cases that are proposed under 5G, and now we also have 5G Advanced that is coming in. So maybe we'll start off by understanding a telco's perspective on how are we seeing 5G deployments mature in the country. So Gulshan, maybe I'll come to you first. To understand how are you seeing the market react to 5G and what network innovations are you doing? And also from a 5G Advanced perspective, how do you see the market evolve? What changes do we need to plan for? And how do we kind of leverage the benefits of this technology?
Fantastic. Thank you for the question and welcome. So 5G, we all have been going through this roller coaster of 5G in the last couple of years. How much money do we invest? How do we make relevant use cases? And we all know that though it has made a good technical justification, but economic justification is yet to be seen in the market. We all know that we have deployed 5G. All big three in India also have done it. Globally, we have seen about 150, 180 networks already done 5G. Most of them going for a technology called NSA, which is not standalone, wherein you get the good throughputs. However, you need to do little less changes in the core network to give the services. Though you get the advantage of accessing network through 4G and 5G together, so you have good throughputs, but not so much of latency reduction as you would expect from 5G. So that was 5G story going on. The uptake of 5G has been faster than the uptake of 4G, which happened long back. Though the 5G itself, the bedrock was laid perfectly by release 15, release 16 of the standards, which said, okay, what kind of throughput, what kind of latency, what kind of massive devices in the market can be communicating to each other. That was laid beautifully well, and we are yet to harness the true potential. Yes. But having said that, for the sake of discussion theoretically today, if you say 5G Advanced is changing the paradigm now, saying that the network architecture has been defined, how do we really make it conducive for the users to consume? So while, if you remember, when we started 5G 3 years back, 4 years back, there were 3 pillars on MMTC, enhanced mobile broadband, ultra reliable low latency. There were 3 pillars of 5G. If you see now 5G Advanced, the pillars have changed. It's all about consumer experience. How do we extend services? How do we extend, meaning if I had, AV, AR happening in the last 5G generation, how do I give an immersive experience now to the consumer? So bringing it to the next level, saying inclusive immersive experience for consumer. Extending services to very, very low value of your resolution of your location, for example. How do we control drones with that? So now 5G Advanced is changing the paradigm to a consumer level, saying I need to extend, I need to give more entertainment, more immersive experience to the consumer. I need to be more expressive. I need to be bringing excellence to the network. For example, 5G Advanced talked about technology. It didn't talk about earlier about how do you introduce AI ML to network operation excellence. But 5G Advanced talks about network excellence as well, saying how do I bring more data insights into the network so that I can do predictive analysis. I can do decisions much faster. How can I use my data existing in the network to make decisions faster? So 5G Advanced is, so if you want me to summarize, 5G would be the bedrock for technology. What spectrum, how much bandwidth of spectrum, what kind of latency, what kind of throughput. 5G Advanced is more about consumer experience, extension of that. How do I bring consumer experience to a better level using those technologies? 5G Advanced is much more than, it's like a icing on the cake. So that's what my take would be.
Lovely. So I think 5G Advanced is more like a trifecta of some of these emerging technologies coming together with AI and all, modernizing the
absolutely
the core. Yeah. But just to kind of, I mean, I think we, as you said, 5G adoption is, is happening in India, but at a slower pace than what we would have desired for. And I think that's a worldwide phenomenon. And I think digital infrastructure is a key component of how this adoption kind of proliferates into wider India. And that's where maybe I'll come to Manoj, to you. From a Railtel perspective, you've been at the forefront of laying down the digital infrastructure and kind of, on the ground, making the country ready for 5G, right? So from that perspective, I think it will be good to have your insights on what have been the practical challenges that kind of Railtel has kind of encountered in making India ready for 5G.
I think और भी गम है ज़माने में 5G के अलावा. So I will start with the other national issues also. Connectivity is one part. So good afternoon, everybody, distinguished guests, media friends, and colleagues. We are known in the industry for nation-building projects, wherein we have connected more than 700 campuses of medical colleges, IITs, IIMs, district collectors, and maintaining them. On the broadband side, we are quite deep into tier 2, tier 3 towns, where we are expanding our broadband network, because on the virtue of we are traveling throughout the country along the railway tracks. Our 60% FTTH connections are actually in the area which are underserved or which are not served. And there are many success stories for our station Wi-Fi project, which we have done again as a nation-building project. And it is widely available across all the railway stations, which are 6,000 plus stations. We are also solving a lot of industry problems through collaboration, because the theme of the entire organization is that how do we collaborate with industry forces and peers to deliver the solution which can solve many business issues and industry issues. In fact, the FTTH model, what we adopted, is now being, I'll not say copied, but kind of replicated by many telcos now, wherein we have collaborated with LCOs and cable operators to wire up the homes in the rural areas where the broadband connection is very poor. We are implementing one of the country's largest CCTV programs for public railway stations, where we are installing 7,000 plus CCTV cameras, which will be powered through few of the AI applications like FRS, gunshot detection, crowd pulling, and all actually. On the healthcare side, we have implemented the railway hospital automation project, which is connecting more than 700 hospitals and clinics together. So entire hospital automation in terms of appointment seeking to appointment fixation, to medical prescription, to billing, to invoice, doctor occupancy, the medicines inventory in the hospitals in terms of their inventory, in terms of their expiry, in terms of their volume, and so on and forth, which are available on the web portal, as well as user of railway hospitals need not to carry their physical files. Everything is available on their mobile app. And we are also now implementing BMC's hospitals automation, which will comprise, again, a big number of hospitals in Mumbai and New Mumbai areas. There are many other projects which we are doing. We have done e-office implementation, and incidentally, e-office implementation, paperless office implementation is spread out entire railway systems. And just before COVID, we completed this, wherein the entire office of railways could work even without people going during the shutdown time. We are also implementing an AI-based smart enforcement system for geology and Department of MP, wherein you will have smart gates, which will have high surveillance CCTV cameras, which detect the vehicle movement, the vehicle number, the vehicle type, the driver, the mass on the truck, the mineral which is being carried out. This is going to impact the lot of illegal movement of minerals and mining materials across state. We're also implementing an OTT for Prasar Bharati. It is a very interesting project wherein Prasar Bharati has a lot of Doordarshan contents and AR content which are in their tape library but not available on the digital media. So we are converting entire into digital media, and you will have OTT wherein you can see the old serials, the old music, everything available on the mobile app itself. Edge data centers, so we are now spreading our AI-powered edge data centers into tier 2 towns, which will be required for tier 2 towns and near DCTR applications, which require high agility and less of dependency on the backbones. We are also on the transport front, we are implementing the capacity augmentation, and it will be almost 3 times of existing capacity by March 25. But we are also consolidating. We are also talking to other government sectors which are holding the OFC assets, but they could not monetize. So discussions are on, and I think within a couple of weeks you will hear the story that we are tying up with the pipeline providers, with the other utility providers, and trying to increase their asset value by combining with our OFC assets. So the product which will be available in the market is now either we are on the railway track, for example, but other telcos are on the national highway or on state highways. You will have something which is a combination of two, which is not available in the India right now currently. So we are trying to see a lot of path-breaking projects which we are trying to inculcate, which we are trying to implement for solving ICT problems of the governments and state governments and other bodies. We also have a unique combination of PSU, multi-panel cloud, as well as NLD service provider. And we are now a trusted ICT partner for a lot of mission-critical applications for MHA and Government of India. Thank you.
Great. That's a really impressive body of work that I think Railtel is doing. And I think we today have, courtesy some of the projects that you talked about, I think some interesting use cases that we can showcase to the world. Because the sheer scale that India offers, I don't think any country can kind of boast of such use cases given the scale that India operates at. But you talked about some interesting use cases which require edge computing. So I think that's a great segue for me to kind of move on to Shekharan, to you, to kind of just understand some of these use cases that are requiring edge computing, MEC architecture. Those require different level of network organization, right? It requires slicing, it requires the whole orchestration to be kind of done in a manner that it can support some of these microservices that are required by the edge use cases. So would love to hear from you in terms of some of the use cases that you've kind of deployed, which demonstrated the network innovation from a 5G perspective.
Thank you, Sonika. In fact, when you are asking whether we have deployed any use cases, it's still the nascent stage. Only one thing which I would like to share is, see, we launched a couple of years back itself 5G, and around 50 million customers are there as on date. But the advantage of 5G over 4G, whether we are harnessing those things, especially in terms of the speed or the ultra URLC and the reliability, etc. If you talk about, still it is in nascent stage. And of course, a lot of research is going on to exploit this 5G technology. In the meanwhile, we are talking even 5G advanced. Are we really ready to exploit this? Yes, a lot of talks are going on regarding autonomous vehicles, providing healthcare, even mining solutions. There's a lot of applications are there. These are all conceived, but whether we have implemented or not, as of now, it's not so. And secondly, the 5G technology, it has to become reality, means this edge computing is a necessity. We need to take the computing at the even block level, even not even tier 2, tier 3 also, even go down the level to provide that kind of, especially for the low latency requirements, applications, Industry 4.0, or you talk about autonomous vehicles, these kind of applications require edge computing. But for that, fiberization infrastructure side, I feel we are still lagging. And as of now, around 30-35% only is fiberized. When I talk about fiberization, it is not only at the backhaul, right from your radio, the antenna to the radio, and then the radio to the core network, and from the even edge computing, this one completely should be fiberized. And one thing which I feel that the BharatNet Phase 3, which now tender is out, it's going to be a game changer, because the telcos are also finding it very difficult to get ROW and then roll out massively. But this is going to help, because this is entirely funded by the government. And this envisages taking the fiber even to the Gram Panchayat and even to the villages also. And the rollout period is expected in 2 years. Already the tender is out. So this will facilitate connecting all the towers, through fiber, and it becomes easy for the, without much investment from the telcos, they can take those fibers on lease model or whatever it is, and go for edge computing. By the time when this 5G advanced, which we are talking about AI model and all, this will be a real game changer at that time. So we are at present here, we are not fully utilizing, but edge computing is the way forward, no doubt.
Right. No, I think that's a harsh reality that we're all dealing with. While the use cases are identified, but I think from a real-world implementation, I think we are running a little slow. But as everybody knows, AI these days is the buzzword, and everybody is expecting a magic wand with AI to kind of transform some of these initiatives. So maybe Pashupati, I'll just maybe move to you to kind of get your perspective on what is your view on how AI is transforming, and can it solve some of these problems that we talked about of bringing scale to 5G adoption?
Right. Thank you, Sonika. Good afternoon, everyone. I would say yes, definitely AI is the buzzword. And how it impacts the network is, I would like to classify this primarily into 3 phases. When we talk about a network, it primarily starts from architecture and deployment, moves towards operations, and then followed by assurance and performance. When I say architecture and deployment, we as Sienna, we are primarily focused around, we are working, we are spending millions of dollars on AI-related use cases, so that we can come at forefront and support our service provider globally. What we are trying to do out there with AI is, we are trying to put AI in use in terms of helping us build an architecture which is self-learning. Deployment models which are sort of zero-touch, or I would say low-touch provisioning. These things would help broadly, again, in 2 very important aspects. One, with zero touch or low touch provisioning, human intervention could be reduced. Our engineers could focus on more critical aspects of the network. And at same point in time, the probability of any manual error that would go down. At same point in time, when the networks are built on an architecture which are self-learning, it would actually help us build a better network than yesterday. So these are the couple of aspects from the first chapter. Second, I would say operations. This is even more important. Citing the challenges, especially we got out here in India, with respect to the site security and various other chapters. I feel this is the most important. We, with the help of our Navigator control suite, are trying to develop some algorithms. In fact, algorithms are already there. We continue to make it better. What it does is, it continues to proactively learn the network database, basis which the AI algorithms, they do analysis and helps us understand proactively in advance that if there could be some challenge in network in coming future, so that before that issue happens, we go and fix it. So it's primarily something which helps us predict in advance with the help of AI. Last but not the least, one of the most important aspect of any network is we must understand that network very well. If we understand it well, we would be able to run it well and make it even better. With the help of AI, and I said Navigator Control Suite, we continue to do a lot of data crunching and analysis, which subsequently again help us to make sure the performance and the assurance of the network is taken care of. So for us as Sienna, AI for almost last few years, I would say, has done a dramatic support. It has been a support at large. Thank you.
Lovely. So AI is the magic wand for our networks. Great. I think while we've heard some slow adoption stories on 5G, the good thing about India is the diverse options that are available to us. And Vivek, that's where you are at the center, converging a lot of some of these network options that are available to us. So, I mean, just given that you're so close to the customer, I want to get your perspective on how are you seeing customer preferences evolve between 5G, fiber, Wi-Fi, there's so many network options available. How do you see the customer preference evolve over time?
Thanks, Sorika. I'm clearly the odd one out here, a wireline broadband person talking in a 5G panel. But yes, nowhere in the world has 5G replaced wireline broadband for home. Yeah, they are complementary technologies, both of these. While 5G is great on the go, inside the home, you always need wireline broadband. It's pure physics. The more you increase the frequency, the less the amplitude. That means the signals will not travel inside the home. It cannot cross the walls. So therefore, you need wireline broadband. Having said that, you don't see applications inside the home for 5G. Nobody has ever invented a TV with a SIM tray. Do you see that? No, it's not there. It doesn't, because it's not meant for that. 5G is for small applications, but for your intensive bandwidth applications like binge watching your series, work from home, studying from home, and so on and so forth, you need wireline broadband. Yeah. So we in India probably a few years back had this notion that probably we can do a shortcut and straight away go to 5G and we don't need wireline broadband. But that's not the case. We need to do the hard work and bring fiber to each and every household. But the bad news is we're at the bottom of all charts globally as far as per capita penetration of wireline broadband is concerned. It's so bad that our Southeast Asian neighbors like Bangladesh are better than we are in terms of per capita broadband penetration. So there needs to be work done in this space, and there is no shortcut to it, as I said. As far as the customer preferences go, you see more and more bandwidth intensive applications being used. You see, 2K going to 4K, 4K going to 8K, and therefore it consumes more and more bandwidth. You see work from home is a new norm, study from home is a new norm, and you don't expect any glitches there. That's not the case. Therefore, there's no case where we can say that 5G will replace wireline. Wireline will stay for home, it has to be there. Yeah, and that's what the customers are seeking. They're seeking more bandwidth, they're seeking more speeds, and they're seeking a stable connectivity inside the home. And as I was telling you before this conversation, that now it's convergence of sorts that's taking place in our home, inside our homes also. Because as of today, in India, we have just 4 crore wireline broadband connections. Just 4 crore for a population of 140 crores. And yet we have 6.5, 7 crore cable TV connections and around 7 crore DTH connections. Now, they're in a tailspin, as I said. All cable TV, all broadcast television is suffering from 3% churn per month. These connections are not going back to broadcast television. By broadcast television, I mean traditional cable TV. And all of these are moving to wireline broadband. So therefore, the new application that has to be brought in is the converged product, wherein you bring broadcast television, you bring OTT, you bring in high-speed broadband, and probably telephone connectivity also. In any case, telcos are shifting to us now with Wi-Fi calling. so they're doing the job very well.
I have a right to answer the question.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, as I said, 5G, great, but it's for on-the-go applications. It's for your reels. It's for your answering the mail or social connectivity. But for serious applications inside the home, you cannot replace wireline broadband, and that's where we have to do hard work in this country. Thank you. Your chance.
You had some views.
Let's digress a bit. So nobody is stealing the thunder away from you saying extreme high bandwidth requirements at home. Yes, you require last mile fiber. But I run a 50-inch HD TV at my home with my phone as a hotspot. It works very well. I do binge watching on that. And sub-gigahertz for your indoor penetration. Millimeter wave goes out. You could have an outdoor CPE connected on fiber to indoor CPE. We can solve the problem. Of course, bandwidth hogging by watching Netflix or OTTs, you require. But look at ROW for fiber today. So India is the only country probably where most of the people have done their first-hand experience on internet, on bandwidth consumption in home through a mobile phone. So it's complementing. It's not that. Yeah. So meanwhile, quick access, cheaper access through mobility, long run, high throughput, spectrum deficiency is of course there. Then you go in for fiber.
Yeah. So you whet their appetites with 5G, and then the real thing comes through fiber. Yeah, agreed.
I think both the technologies are complementary to each other and have different applications clearly. But moving on from an application perspective and an industrial application perspective, Gulshan, maybe I'll continue with you. Clearly, some of these industrial applications require a combination of some of these technologies like AI, IoT coming together. So and that requires the telco to kind of transform its network, right, at a fundamental layer, as a fundamental layer. So just want to get your perspective. How are you kind of seeing these technologies coming together, cloud, AI, edge computing?
So your question is specific to industrial applications. And believe me, Sonika, industrial applications are the ones which will drive the consumption, drive the technology. Consumer has a limited capability.
To pay.
To pay and to consume as well.
Yeah.
I mean, 2K to 4K to 8K, I cannot go to 16K and 32K because
Exactly.
eyes will not perceive the difference. So consumer has a limited appetite. What will actually drive the industry and technology and innovation is industry actually.
Yes.
Industry today, so I was working on a use case in Singapore wherein everything in a factory has to be automated, right from the entry of a employee who does not do anything, just passes through a window and his or her biometric attendance is done, equipment movement, logistics, quality control. Quality control is one which requires extremely low latency. You have to have thousands of pictures of a motherboard in one fraction of a second so that you can find where the components are misplaced or dry soldering has been done or whatever. So industrial applications are the one which will drive this innovation, believe me, because consumer has a limited appetite. A mobility consumer, I mean, I have a 6-inch phone, 5-inch phone. I do not want a 20-inch phone with 8K in my hand. So how much will I consume, right? I cannot watch 5 simultaneous televisions with 8K content on them. So I have a limited. So mobility for me, low latency, cars require low latency. I don't require low latency. If I'm watching a movie, even if it's 20, 30, 40, 100 milliseconds delayed, how does it matter? A voice communication delay by 100 milliseconds, it's okay. It's not perceivable to human ears. So industry is what is going to drive this change. And what will drive technically in this paradigm, you mentioned about edge, for example, it's going to be very important. I do not want to bring petabytes and exabytes of data from an industrial application back to my core location. I don't want to do that because analysis, the intelligible analysis of the data will be done at an edge location. It will not be done at a central location. Otherwise, Mr. Sienna would be very happy to draw in TBPS of data back to the core locations. No, I don't need to do that because one, it requires higher bandwidth, extremely high. Number two, intelligible information can be consumed on the edge itself. So edge is one. Fiber reach has to be there. So AI, for example, you said. Now AI, when I talk about AI, I normally put it into two perspectives. One is a AI engine required to improve consumers' experience. Now today, for example, you are traveling to Singapore and at night your international roaming package is not working. You cannot afford to wait for the morning for somebody to come and do some correction. You have a chatbot available who is intelligent enough to understand if somebody has a VLR change towards a different location, he or she might have a problem in roaming, the data pack might not be working. So this intelligence will build in experience improvement for you as a consumer. So that's one aspect. I'm talking purely from a consumer perspective. When I log into Amazon.in for shopping, I don't want to go through thousands of things. Amazon already knows that what I'm interested in. If I bought something, in the past 3 months, they know what my buying patterns are. They already display that, okay, you are doing a UPI shopping, so you will do a UPI barcode, for example. So experience enhancement for a consumer is what AI will bring in from a consumer perspective. The second aspect very important is from the inward perspective. Innovation on services being offered from the network side. Predictive analysis I talked about, for example. Today, for example, if I have to roll a service, I have to make 100 change requests in the network itself. From a RAN, from a backhaul to a core location, transport, IP, optics layer, WDM layer, I need to do thousands of changes. Now, you think with a 1.4 billion consumers in India, I'll have the bandwidth to change everything for a 5G for a consumer? So this kind of service innovation required in the backend on the network side, data intensive insights which I see today. I know that, look, in this section, there's a big cloud data center coming in, that will be my consumer, I need to augment the bandwidth. The bandwidth requirement is only for so many hours during the day, while in the night there is some other call center which works, which might require. Now who does this bandwidth allocation intelligently? I have to have an AI engine. So from my perspective, industrial application which will drive, AI will bring in two phases of innovation. One from a consumer perspective, improving the excellence in terms of experience, and secondly to help engineers like me to bring insights and improvement in my operational excellence, for example.
More like zero-touch provisioning. Yeah. Great. So, Manoj, you talked about some of these interesting use cases earlier. Gulshan talked about some of industrial applications. I think some of these use cases are a lot of machine-to-machine communication, right? And Railtel, I think, has kind of implemented some of these use cases around, surveillance of stations and those kind of. So do you want to maybe talk about what did it take for you to implement some of these use cases? And given that Railtel's scale is not just limited to metro, it's at a rural town as well. Were you able to achieve same kind of level of efficiency and results in the rural areas as well? If maybe just practical insights on some of these implementations that you've done?
We being PSU, we are governed through various audits and control measures. So getting right set of IT pool from the market is difficult for us. So we have only two options. One is we are doing now capacity building programs to upskill people in terms of their knowledge to implement the ICT solution. But we are also very forthcoming in terms of collaborating with existing set of partners who supply manpower to scale up and deliver the project in time. So resource crunch is definitely there in terms of upcoming technologies, although they are being talked about, but the number of people who understand the technology in terms of execution, customizing the solution is really less. We are also setting up a center of excellence for AI and are currently talking to one of the global AI force. In next couple of weeks' time, we will announce that. So with their help, we will be setting up center of excellence and more capacity building programs and running some of the conversational AI tools towards the government agencies and state government agencies which are giving the citizen-centric services to various customers. On the rural side, there are issues in terms of the people skills there. And there are issues also in terms of the penetrating rural because the kind of skill set available both from the partner side and from our side, they are not up to the standard to scale up. But then the requirements are also not up to that level. So we again depend on collaborating with the forces which are available there to expand network further. And hence, I talked about this, that we are now tying up with the other side of people or entity which have got a lot of assets lying. And once we combine both the assets inventory, I'm sure it's going to help industry in terms of carrying larger capacity of data flowing once more and more heavy applications start flowing in the backbone. Thank you.
Thank you. I I think skills is a important challenge. I think that the industry is grappling with. But I think there are other aspects and perils of modernization of the network. You know, there is so much with so many applications available at the client end. You know, there's a deluge of data that is kind of flowing in. So. Shankara, I think it will be good, very keen to get your perspective on how are we dealing with some perils which are associated with digitization. You know, there's data security, privacy, whole host of challenges that one needs to take care of when planning the network. You know, how are you kind of helping companies in kind of achieving that?
Today, we are completely moving into data centric. Everything is going to happen. And of course, the threats are also more. And TCIL also implementing a lot of data center, greenfield data center we are building up for the defense establishment. And we are also implementing a data center for some autonomous institutions also. Yes, threats are always there. I can just compare in what happens even cricket. The batsman has to make one mistake, but the bowler gets chances again to attempt. Same thing, the threat actors, they keep, probing your network. Just one mistake if you do, then you are compromising the. And today, every individual's data is, in one form or the other, somewhere it is there. Either with the government or with the telcos or with the hospitals. So data protection is very key. Though there are, the various level of security we ensure, like implementing next generation firewalls, network access controls, SIEM solutions, SOAR, or EDR solution, all these things we talk about. But what happens is, what I understand is, the person who is implementing it, if he makes a small mistake in configuring, applying the rules and other things, that is sufficient. Because these threat actors, they have continuously, they have, in one second, they may be attempting hundreds of times. So even if a slight mistake, this is what when we see that even a small mistake in opening the port for some minor operation, they might be not reverting and then plugging it, may result in security breach. This is what is happening everywhere. So more importance is that there are certain guidelines from the CERTIN and other government agencies. So the security in charge for every organization, they have to go through those guidelines, and the advisories have to be implemented properly time to time. Otherwise, irrespective of you like you construct a house and walls are very strong, gate is very strong, but the mistake of just, you have not locked it. This is what is happening from our experience. The people who are handling the security operations have to be completely thorough, adept. Then only it is possible to protect. And of course now, data protection also Act has come in 2023. It is going to, in fact, Act has come, but all the stakeholders, they are all evaluating what they have to do, because there will be a lot of investment required to meet that guidelines. And yes, security threat is very much there, but proactively, if we take care of day-to-day operations, we can mitigate to a large extent.
And perhaps use some of these technologies like AI to protect the network.
Yeah, very much, very much. Even these firewalls are also now coming with that kind of. And in fact, when I talk about the security at the server level, we have to implement, at the network level, we have to implement, in the firewall level. So it's like, it's not that I put a firewall, everything will be taken care of.
Yeah.
So every stage you have to protect the network.
True. That's great. Moving on, Pashupati, I mean, given the fact that, we talked about the exposure, again, cloud applications are fully integrated these days. How is CNR working towards meeting some of these cloud native network functions? We talked about zero touch, and zero trust applications. How is the network geared to deal with some of these requirements?
Thanks, Monica. Yeah. So I would say when we talk about 5G, the most important aspect is the rollout and the penetration of 5G. To give the experience to our general masses, the 5G has to be rolled out very fast. When we roll out very fast, it comes with complexity, which definitely, as I already spoke about, and you also rightly highlighted, that with zero-touch provisioning, or let's say low-touch provisioning, could be addressed. But at the same point in time, the more of cloudification, definitely it again comes with a lot of excitement, but challenges as well, security and various aspects. And over the period of time, I'm sure the latency, I think Harsh sir spoke about that, and Sienna would remain happy even if the growth is in excess, because we do play in routing and switching, and we have been lucky to have a deployment base of more than 30,000 nodes in India as on date. So we are lucky that way as well. So I would say the growth is really out there in the access. Though the core is also elevating from, like recently we got our latest gen of coherent plug, which is like 1.6 tera on a single lambda, which is like, I remember roughly around what, till 2017 we were talking about 100G, or at max 200G. Now we are talking about 1.6 tera in 2024. So the growth is there in core and regional, but the massive growth, which is to drive 5G to every bit and corner of the nation, is at access. And cloudification becomes even more challenging when you got so many nodes spread across such a vast geography, because it comes with a huge cost, it comes with challenges of latency, and as well as deployment. Now to address this, Sienna has, we got a portfolio called Sienna Adaptive Network, wherein most of our products primarily fall under that specific domain, I would say, wherein we not only provide a connectivity, but we also make sure that your security and those concerns with respect to cloudification are addressed. So we definitely already got a product, in terms of an offering out here, which is already supporting. As I said, we got a presence of more than 30,000 nodes in access with the routing and switching portfolio. We are pretty much out there. And I would say one thing which definitely helps us a lot is, we comes from Americas. So there are many learnings which we are able to easily replicate out here. The security concerns and many more aspects what we are seeing now is something we have been through out there in different economies. So those chapters are actually something which we need not reinvent again. We just need to learn, just modify it as per the needs of Indian context and replicate. So we are well prepared, and I'm sure that our operators like Vodafone, Airtel, and Jio, and all others, they are pretty much aligned to these challenges, and they know how to address with the help of the partners like Sienna.
Thank you. That's quite reassuring. Right. Moving on, Vivek, I think a little bit of crystal ball gazing, given the fact of so many technological innovations happening. We today, I see a lot of smart devices in a lot of people's hands. So you being so close to the customer segment, how are you seeing the future evolve in terms of smart living, smart gadgets, use proliferation? Do you see some interesting trends coming along?
Yeah, as I said before also, see, the customer is becoming more and more bandwidth hungry. It's not the same as before. When we started Excitel broadband, which was around 9 years back, average speed in Delhi specifically was around 1 Mbps. Internet used to be a productivity enhancement tool. You would do mailing, you would surf internet, you would do some research, and that's what you would do in internet. Watch some clips maybe after a lot of buffering here and there. Yeah, and today an average Excitel offers basic package of 200 Mbps. That's the basic speed that a customer gets. So why? Because it has become primary source of entertainment in a household. From being a productivity enhancement tool, internet now is primary source of entertainment in a household. So that's a paradigm shift completely. Again, just to give you a perspective of how we handled it, when we started, 90% of what consumers consumed was ILL. ILL means international bandwidth, and 10% was caching. Today, 90% is pairing caching, and only 10% is ILL. 90% comes from content providers like Google, Amazon, Netflix, so on and so forth. So from network architecture point of view, it has changed completely. For example, Excitel to run 500,000 users that we have in Delhi. We have 1 million around the country, 500,000 in Delhi. We have 7,000 kilometers of core fiber. and then around 25,000 kilometers of excess fiber to reach each and every household that you have to deliver this speed into. So, as I said, speed is the key, and it's going to increase only, it's not going to decrease, because applications are changing drastically. Gulshan was saying, not so much for consumer, but consumers are driving this bandwidth hunger as we see it as of now. You know, from Gulshan, 9 years back, you remember 512 kbps, 1 Mbps was great speed, which with FUP.
You got to an average of 30 GB per consumer per day to do on mobility.
Exactly. So it's changed drastically, you know, and there's no other way but to bring this fiber inside the homes to deliver these speeds for which, you know, these applications are bandwidth hungry. You cannot sort of do away with it. As I said before also, what's going to happen in future is, again, this single fiber is going to carry all your, you know, yes, whether it is OTT, whether it is, you know, your work from home, you know, high-speed broadband, or it's broadcast television. Remnants of it will pass on to fiber from, you have currently a set-top box inside your home. Some of us still have, because our grandmothers and mothers still watch those serials. Now that set-top box has to be changed with the Android box. You know, you will have fiber coming to your home, it will go to a Wi-Fi router, it will go to a set-top Android box, and that will drive all entertainment needs, rather all needs of a household connectivity inside the home. Outside we give it to Gulshan and he runs it on 5G. So yeah, that's how it is.
Can I take 30 seconds? So one caveat. So mobile broadband or a fixed line broadband, consumers will consume because entertainment is there. You're growing from HD to 8K consumption. But technology is not being driven only for broadband applications. Technology is giving you extremely low latency, ultra reliable networks, massive number of IoT devices. That's all not being driven by a consumer. So I, for example, would have 10 devices at my home which consume consumption, and they do all broadband consumption. Broadband also for a consumer, 100 millisecond doesn't matter. But industrial applications like remote health monitoring, for example, video surveillance, for example, industrial application in production, for example, manufacturing, for example, those are the ones which will drive the change of technology.
Agreed.
So mobile broadband or a fixed broadband is broadband for a consumer.
That's right.
So consumer will not drive latency applications, reliable applications, etc.
Agreed.
So that's where I made this point of.
Yeah. So fully agreed with Gulshan there, and obviously we're complementing each other here. So so the fact is, as he rightly said, machine-to-machine communication. That's where 5G goes. Broadband has no sort of scope there, and also autonomous cars and so on and so forth. That's where 5G will sort of have its day sometimes in future. Not as of now. As of now, they're still trying to figure out a use case, but it's okay. So, but inside the home, again, it's going to be wired and broadband. Thank you.
I think with this, I think the only thing that I can look forward to is that this is bright future for us, both from a smart homes, smart gadgets, smart lives, and smart factories. I think we're all moving towards better use of technology, digital adoption in the country, both at a consumer and at an enterprise level. I think that brings us to an end of this panel session. I would want to kind of open the floor to the audience in case there are any specific questions that any of you would like to ask to our esteemed panelists. You've answered everything. Can we get the mic to the audience?
So my name is Shagun. Actually, we are representing Conviva Technologies, which is part of Tech Mahindra. So I have a question. Basically, from the morning, a lot of words we have heard about 5G. We have seen 4G rollouts. We have seen 3G. We have seen 2G. So just want to understand what would be the bare minimum age for 5G when this 6G, this panelist team can actually see. Because if you'll see, let me just add one more statistics around this. The 2G to 3G migration was around 10 years. It took 10 years time. Then 3G to 4G, it took 7 years. Then 4 years or 5 years for 5G. So when the 6G we are anticipating?
Yeah, I'll let Gulshan answer it, but they're on a treadmill, man. They have to run, and there are no applications. Great.
Yeah.
No, this question is there floating around. 5G advanced, we don't know. So as I said, 5G was a bedrock for technology, for better spectral efficiency, offering better services, more throughput, reliable communication, low latency communication, massive devices. That was a bedrock. 5G advanced is building on top of it, saying icing on the cake, saying now I need to work on consumer experience. When will 6G come? Practically, I don't know. But it is not as simple to say 2G came X years, 3G came X years. You see 2G is a prominent technology today also. A lot of feature phones in the market, but 3G is being sunset by everybody. So 3G is dying faster than 2G, correct? Because anybody who wants data to be accessed would rather go to 4G. Anybody who wants only voice services would rather go to 2G. So it's not as simple as that. Look, 5G, 4G as a technology will remain for a very long time. The reason being, as a mobile consumer, my requirements are being very well met by a 4G network as well. I'm not able to build EMBB and URLC networks on top of it. I'm not able to slice it properly, but most of my applications are being met by 4G also. So 4G is going to stay for a very long time. While 5G will be built on top of it, with specific use cases, edge, slice, industrial applications, etc. But it's going to stay. And when will 6G be actually available for us? Lord Vishnu knows. We don't know.
Thank you, Gulshan.
But it's great to know that our country is working towards, already 6G planning. Yeah. So I think it's converged. I can see a few hands in the audience.
China has recently tested 6G with 1 terabit speed. That's what they are the leaders now. Of course, South Korea is also
esteemed
they are
panelists.
planning something around 2027 6G. And Japan, South Korea, they are on par, but China is way ahead.
But one thing I must say, for any technology to be successful, economics has to work first.
Yes, exactly.
Otherwise, see, India is a land of communication where you buy the most expensive raw material. The spectrum is the most expensive, but the finished good is the cheapest, right? We offer the cheapest data rates in the world. Now, economics has to work first. Technology is available, but unless this economics of use cases, revenue, works well, I mean, you will not see anybody spending billions of dollars in building a 6G network while there's no consumer in the market or no application in the market. So economics also has to work hand in hand.
I can see a few hands, but I can also see the clock which is saying time's up. So maybe if I can request the audience to kind of offline, maybe touch base with our panelists for any potential questions.